Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In the first story, we'll tell you what happens when an employee works overtime but doesn't get paid. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You're not paid to be on call because you're not on call. I work in a support role for a global insurance/investment company. Over the last 6 months, I've lost many an evening and weekend to unexpected work problems with not even a thank you, let alone any financial compensation. As an example, being called at 21:30 and asked if you can log on when you've met your friends for a drink. Where a job needs to provide out-of-hours support, a supplement is meant to be paid for being on call, with additional payment if you're required to actually work. My contract is based on annual salary, where additional work might be required for no extra pay/overtime if it's considered business as usual, BAU, or known in advance. This bit is important. However, the work I've been asked to do on weekends and evenings is not BAU. BAU assumes processes work. If something goes wrong, someone needs to step in to fix it, and it's no longer BAU. Hope that makes sense. A couple of months ago, I had the conversation with my manager about being paid for being on call. I was told the work I was covering actually fell under BAU, and as I was always given advance notice, I wouldn't be paid for being on call. Manager wouldn't budge on this, so I made it clear I would not be taking my laptop home/available unless I was given advance notice I might be required to log on, to which my manager agreed. On this glorious day, I received a call from my manager asking me to log on as some critical data was missing from a file, causing significant problems with several admin systems. Trying to sound as sincere as I could, I apologized and said I was not made aware in advance and I'm not on call. My laptop was left at the office. This was met by a, to which I responded, "Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow." Expecting it to be a crap show in the morning for Muggins here to clean up, but it'll be worth it. And our next story. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere, you have to work during vacation. Your salary. I work for a small company in the trades as head of the IT department, aka the only IT person. Truthfully, the gig is pretty great, good pay, good benefits, I can come and go as I please within reason. The two people I have to answer to are the VP and CEO, and as is par for the course, they know crap all about anything to do with technology and generally leave me be as I'm good at my job and everything runs smoothly. Being a small company, a lot of us don't take vacations due to A, building the company, and B, not having replacements for the time we're gone, but after 2 years vacationless, we're in the US, my wife convinces me to use the time I'm given to decompress and take a small 1-week getaway. I talk to VP and he gives me the thumbs up to take the time, barring I get everything in order and do some minor teaching to other staff in case of an emergency. Cool. Easy. Enter FOD, Field Operations Director, a man who's an attack dog for the VP for no reason as the VP is nothing but polite and reasonable. FOD loves giving everyone a hard time, adding steps to tasks to make himself look like he's part of the process, reminding everyone of how much of a boss he is to the rest of us in management, and calling me a nerd any chance he gets. Fair to say, I dislike FOD immensely. After making my rounds with other staff, it's FOD's time to do some scary computer-related learning. FOD refuses to look weak under any circumstances and gets very aggressive when learning new things because I'm the boss. I already know. In the midst of learning, it dawns on him to ask why he has to learn this stuff anyway. I'm the nerd and it's my job to do this. I clue him in on the week I'm taking off, and this stuff is just precautionary. This worries FOD as he'll have to retain information, answer questions, and do some minor troubleshooting. The conversation went something like this, and I wish I could tell you that this guy isn't this much of a jerk, but he is. FOD equals boss, me equals me. FOD, who approved your vacation? Me. VP did as long as I could get you guys comfortable with some small maintenance. I only approve vacation time. I'm your boss. Side note, he does this so much that VP actually wrote out the hierarchy in chart form, and we all carry a digital copy with us to remind us who he's actually in charge of. You're not. And I showed him the chart. Well, fine. But your salary, so you'll have to work during your vacation. You'll bring your laptop and work phone with you. When you vacation, you make it very clear you're unreachable and can't be bothered, even if it's an emergency. That's because I go places without service, and unless you're going to the mountains, you have to work. Your salary. Malicious compliance initiated. Just to be clear, if I go to a place without service, I won't be expected to work, yeah? That's right. But you're a nerd. You don't do anything outdoorsy. Great. Thanks for clearing that up. Fast forward 3 weeks, and it's vacation time. All my ducks are in a row, people are comfortable with me being gone for the week, and are all encouraging me to just disconnect. A close coworker of mine knows of the conversation FOD and I had and asks what I plan to do about it, so I shared my easy but effective plan. Wife and I rented a cabin in the woods, 2 hours from the nearest town, and it doesn't have service. Set up automatic email replies that have all IT questions and concerns forwarded to FOD since he's the boss, he knows it. Leave work phone on the charger in my office with ringer on, door locked so he has to hear it, and voicemail changed to have FOD become IT for the week. Coworker loves the idea of flooding FOD with questions he can't answer so much that he gets other coworkers in on it. Midway through the week, I get a call from coworker with an update. FOD loses it. He can't keep up with any requests for help and didn't bother to memorize the simple tasks I showed him, so he does what any good boss does and puts in a request to take vacation until I get back. Retreat is always an option. Nothing screams leader more than retreat. It's not weakness and failure if he's not there. My coworkers were able to manage, and FOD got his 3-day vacation, unfortunately. After the week off, I'm called into VP's office to catch up and get things back on track. VP obviously heard of the hardships FOD faced in my absence and laughed at my malicious compliance surprisingly. VP struck a deal with me moving forward since it was made clear to him no one else knew how to do my job. I can go on vacation wherever I'd like as long as I bring my laptop and phone and check it once a week. They'll refund my vacation time for that day even if I only work for 5 minutes. I took that, but with the caveat of making FOD actually learn some of my duties just in case. VP agreed. Now I do an hour of teaching a week to a very surly FOD. After all, he's the boss. He's got to know. And our last story. The IRS never forgets. Appetizer. About 6 years ago, I started my own consulting business. I'm a talented engineer, but I am sadly naive about the ways of the world. I came from a nice, loving suburban background, and my parents taught me that all people are fundamentally good inside. They are not. To quote Dr. Cox, people are bastard-coated bastards with bastard filling. In most cases, I never got any sort of revenge. Eventually, I realize I'm being screwed, and I fire the individual / cut the contract, etc., and take it as a lesson learned and move on with my life. Main course. Except this one time, when I hired a sales guy. We'll call this sales guy Tony. Tony swept into my office on a cloud of amazing promises. He had a resume a mile long and many harrowing, unlikely, yet somehow plausible stories of his great sales success in past organizations. He wanted to partner with me to take my company to a new level, make more money than we've ever made before, etc., etc. Even better, Tony didn't even want a salary. He simply wanted to be able to take out loans from the company until his big sales pipeline kicked in. Then he would pay it all back from his giant commissions. It was a total win-win for everybody involved. This sounded like an amazing deal. What a nice guy, and clearly confident he could close a lot of sales, or else why forego a salary in favor of loans? I think, friends, it's probably obvious how this story goes. Over the course of the next year, Tony almost made so many huge sales that are totally ready to sign, but somehow never quite came through. And in that time, he took out over $60,000 in loans that he would totally pay back as soon as his monster sales finally came through. Finally, after so many big promises with zero results, I became suspicious. So I hacked open his company email account and saw that, in fact, he had never sent an email to a client, ever. In fact, the only emails he ever sent were to me and other people in my business talking himself up. All of his leads were utterly fake, He'd never talked to a single client a single time. In a year. Dessert. So I fired him and set about seeing what sort of revenge I could extract. First, I went to my lawyer, who told me what I expected. No legal routes existed to go after him that wouldn't cost me way more than I wanted to spend on revenge. Second, I hired a PI to dig into him. Turns out, surprise, surprise, that lots of people are after this guy. Former business partners, hospitals in Florida, some big medical thing he skipped out on, and a few others. It was finally my accountant who showed me the best way to get back at him without spending a lot of time or money. As I mentioned, he took out all of his pay from me as loans. Now that I'd spoken with the lawyer and the PI, I knew I had essentially a 0% chance of ever recovering that money from him, so I did the next best thing to benefit my business and to screw him over. I forgave the loans in their entirety. This had two huge impacts. First, I got a $60,000 tax write-off because the loans were now bad debt, which reduced my tax bill for 2013 to zero, a small but happy victory. Second, he now owes the IRS $20,000. You see, when I forgave the loan, it became income to him. Once it becomes income, full income taxes, including federal, state, payroll, Social Security, Medicare, etc., become due and payable. Because it's not payroll income, I don't have to pay the employer portion of the taxes. This means he owes the IRS $20,000, and he can never escape that through bankruptcy or any other means, and I have the world's most vicious attack dog trying to get money from him instead of whatever minor debt collection efforts I could have mustered. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.